Yes, yo. What's happening, everybody? It's C time. Come on, folks. Y'all, come on. We coming live. We intro and it's a little bit different today. Yeah. Yes. It's good to be here.
I didn't know if you were, if we could talk. I didn't know.
Well, yeah. Talk.
Because you normally give us our cue when we can talk and when we can't talk.
Well, we live right now. Talk how you want to do.
Get wild.
Get wild. Get loose.
All right, okay.
Hey, Cleveland, check this out. It's that time of the hour. It is this time of the day. We are uncut, uncensored. You have the pleasure right now to be listening to 95.9. It's a black-owned radio station here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And we are glad y'all here with us. So we're going to bring it. This is a relationship talk show. Am I right?
That's right.
And, what we want to do is just enlighten y'all on a few things to improve relationships. We're about to improve, and I know sometimes we be tripping. But we about...
We don't be tripping.
Some of y'all be tripping. Somebody be asking some weird questions.
What?
But look, hey, listen. So what we gonna do is I'm just gonna introduce myself real quick. I'm D Boogie. You can find me at DonZon21. That's on IG. And if you like, let's go this way. Introduce a lady in the corner there.
I'm Akira, also known as Tinder, and you can find me at Tinder10. That's TENDER10 on IG. All right, Kane.
All right. Good afternoon, Cleveland. This is Kane. You can find me on IG at Kane_creates. Kane_creates. That's my IG. On Facebook, Kane's Corner. KANEKORNER. The only two places you'll find me on social media family.
All right. And,
what's up, world?
Go ahead. You usually like me to introduce you.
Oh, yeah, my fault. Go ahead. I'm missing out my intro. Why you gotta turn the music down like that on me?
I just, your voice is so crisp and clear.
Oh, gee,
it's
thank
so
you.
crisp and clear. But let me introduce you like
this. Is it mesmerizing? I'm on one.
It's all right.
As Christelle said.
We got the beautiful Tia in the house.
Yes. Oh, that's it? That's all we get?
That's all you get.
I'm like, okay, what else? My bad. What's up, world? It's your girl, Tasha. What's up, Cleveland and surrounding areas? Listen here, folks. Y'all can catch me at Tosh_empowers on IG. Listen, so that y'all can put the face with the voices. Click on over, flip on over, tune on over to YouTube. Y'all want to type in Relationship Talk Uncut Uncensored. I didn't hit my face on the mic. So just in case that didn't come out clear, y'all can catch us on YouTube at Relationship Talk Uncut Uncensored. Like it, share it, drop a comment. What is going on? What, me hitting the mic? Also on IG, y'all can find the show at uncut.uncensored. So again, real quick, Relationship Talk Uncut Uncensored on YouTube. On IG, it's uncut.uncensored. If you want to, drop some comments, some show suggestions, if you got a little situation going on and you want to run it by us, you can put it on Tosh_empowers, or you can put it under the show. And that's all I got.
Okay, great. That's cool. That's it. You know why I'm tripping? Because, my cues ain't right.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Okay.
I'm looking at this, I could do it with my eyes closed. Everything is mumbo jumbled over here on this computer. Yeah, so I got to spend some time
to get yourself together.
Get that together and everything. But hey, listen, Cleveland, we got a special guest with us today. I'm gonna T. Can you introduce?
Sure. So we have the honor of being in here with the illustrious, the beautiful. See, that's how you do an intro. The eloquent.
Are you talking about me now?
Yes.
Are you introducing me?
No.
He usually bring you in right.
Well, let's be consistent here.
Oh, okay.
I'm all thrown off because of the cue.
Don't start something you can't
That's what I'm saying. Did we talk about that on the show? Don't start what you can't finish.
But I said my cues and everything is off over here, so it threw me off.
Okay. All
Anyway,
right.
Can you not talk about you?
So anyway, the eloquent, the lovely, the wonderful, Dolores Coleman. She is here today to talk about her book. Listen here, folks. It's hot. It's steamy. It is called Intentional Deception. So Dolores,
Wow.
yeah, you go ahead. I got chills right there.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dolores Lynch Coleman. You can find me on IG at DeLoreBabe. That's DeeLoreBabe. It's very nice to be here. I feel very welcome, and we can get this going.
Get it going?
Yes.
All right, so say that one more time into the mic a little bit more. Where can they find you? A little bit slower for the people in the back that might not listen as fast. We just want to,
Like me.
you know, we just want to make sure, you know, we got some slow listeners.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure from 8 to 80 they get it.
I don't mind. You can find me on Instagram at DeLoreBabe. That's D like David, EeLoreBabe.
Got it. And are you on Facebook?
Dolores Coleman on Facebook.
Okay. And where can they find your book?
Reach out to me on Instagram and I'll send it to you personally.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
Well,
And give
all
us the
right.
title one more time.
Intentional deception.
Okay, great.
Woo! So listen here, folks. So the topic, the name of her book is Intentional Deception. So I'm gonna let her kick that off and tell us, where did the book come from? Where did that title derive from?
Well, you know what? Growing up here in Cleveland, it derived from my family and the life I experienced growing up as a little girl. My mom, she was murdered in 1980 as a result of being an informant for the FBI. At the time, I was 12 years old. I didn't know that she was involved as an informant, but she decided to become an informant due to the fact that she was involved with a major drug dealer.
Wow.
Okay, so in exchange for her not going to do a lengthy 20-year prison sentence, she decided to become an informant.
Wow. So let's let all that sink in. Yeah. So your mom, and God rest her soul, and my heart and condolences go out to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So your mom was murdered because she was kicking it with somebody who was a big-time drug dealer.
Exactly.
And in order to basically keep y'all safe, raise y'all, she was an informant for the FBI.
Exactly.
So the reason why I felt like this topic was necessary is because a lot of times, you know, women especially, you know, get into these relationships with as we like to call them, bad boys. It's fun in the beginning. You know, you got to fly car. You know, he might be flying you in and out of different states and countries. You know, he might be popping bottles and collars, you know, dropping Benjis and everything else. But it's all fun and games until the feds come beating on the door. So talk about that. Like, how was that growing up?
Well, you know, I've never wanted for anything. I thought my mom had a very good job. She worked at General Motors. We were taken care of very well. But on the flip side, she decided to leave my father and pursue a relationship with this man.
Got you.
So that divided the family right there. So it was just a little bit confusing to me because I'm like, why would you leave, you know, your husband to get involved with a drug dealer? But at the time, I did not know this man was a drug dealer. So
I'm sorry, just so I can understand. So she was married to your father,
exactly.
and so she left your father to go be with the bad boy.
That's true. And he was also married, the bad boy.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. So, okay, anybody got any questions before? Listen, y'all got to make sure y'all go to YouTube because y'all got to see the faces and the expressions on people's face right now.
It's really deep.
It's definitely deep. Like, this is some real life stuff. Ladies, if you out there and you listening, I know it may be fun, it may seem fun, but Dolores lived it firsthand. And everything that glitter ain't gold. I'm just saying. But any questions before... Pick your jaws up, people. Pick it up.
I'm ready.
Wow.
Here, you all right over there?
I'm okay.
She a little speechless. D Boogie.
Well, you know, no questions right now. You're doing well with the questions. I just wasn't ready for.
I said it was heavy. I told y'all it was heavy.
All of this and that. You know, so no questions right now. I'm just dealing with the fact that I wanted to ask you about. From your standpoint as a child, you know, the effects that it has had on you, but you'll talk about that a little bit later. So I'm just dealing with the theme right now of, mother is murdered.
Yes.
She's an informant. She's, I don't know if this is a topic of conversation, but she was with someone, she was married, and the person she was with married, and she was probably playing a major role in a lot of his movement and things of that nature.
That's exactly what she was.
Okay. Did she was, I know the feds got involved, but was she the person that was like a house, was a house like a setup house and things of
The
that
trap
nature?
house.
Well,
You
when she
wanna say?
departed from the
I'm just-
family, we stayed with our father for about 3 years.
Okay.
So what they would call the trap house, that's where she resided.
Oh,
And oftentimes I was allowed to go over there on the weekends.
got you.
Wow.
And this is when I saw, tons of money, cash, diamonds, mink coats,
Yeah.
expensive furniture. And I'm like, how could she afford to live like this? But as a
Yeah.
child, you don't ask questions.
Yeah.
And you had no idea as a child what was going on or anything like that?
Not at all. Because what they did, they didn't expose it in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea,
Yeah.
until many years later.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi.
Hi,
So
Karen.
how old were you at the time?
Well, at the time when she got involved with the drug dealer, I might
Yeah,
have
so
been.
when she left you and your,
I was about 10 years old.
do you have any siblings?
Yeah, 5. The 6
Okay.
children.
Okay, and was she unhappy at home?
I believe so. Yes.
She had to, because sometimes home could be great, but
Yeah.
you get this prize dangled in front of you, and you're like, wow, that's the lifestyle, and it becomes fun and entertaining, and you're on top of the world. Did she have any plans on bringing her children in with her?
Well, at that time, when we were moved from Ohio, we went to Wisconsin. And that's where the FBI moved us to and changed all our identities. So
Wow.
that was about when I turned 12 years old. So about 2 years later.
Okay, so let me ask this. So mom left the house first,
Yes.
initially.
Mm-hmm.
Then things transpired where she changed the identity of yourself and your siblings. Also your dad, maybe?
No, he wasn't allowed to come with us. It was
Okay.
only her for her safety and for her children.
Okay, so dad stayed behind while you all were moved to Wisconsin
Yes,
for protection. Okay.
the Witness Protection Program, that's what it's called.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so give me a minute to digest this, and I'm sure I'm gonna have more
No
questions.
problem.
Wow, but so we got a choice was made in a young woman's life,
Yeah.
and that choice was made to choose a certain type of individual,
Yeah.
and that individual, that choice, disrupted the family, uprooted the family, and it eventually caused your mother's life, right?
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break right there, y'all. Just want y'all to know exactly where we at with this. Could you one more time before we go to break introduce your book out there to some of our listeners that tune in late?
Yeah, my book is called Intentional Deception, and it starts with me being around 4 or 5 years old, to my knowledge, and it goes all the way up to present day now.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back.
Okay, we'll be right back, y'all. This is Uncut Uncensored, and we're still talking about relationship stuff.
What's up, Cleveland? We're back, and we are speaking with the author of the book Intentional Deception, Dolores Lynch Coleman. When we left off, we were asking questions, and I just have another question for you. Can you please describe what life was like having a mom as an informant?
Well, I didn't know she was an informant until after I finished college. That was the whole deceptional part of life, being not aware of what your mother was involved in. You just go home, go to school, and do as you're told.
Okay, and I understand that. So, what what changed for you? Once you moved to Wisconsin, can you please describe like the changes that you had to make and the feelings you had, you and your siblings had, as far as changing, just uprooting your entire life, leaving dad, going here, and now becoming a new person?
It was very, very strange because they moved our whole family into all-white neighborhood, and coming from the inner city of Cleveland, it was very hard to get adjusted to that.
So that was a culture shock there.
It was a culture shock, and we ended up only being there for 1 month. Then the FBI relocated us to Kansas City, Kansas.
So explain. So mom comes to you and say, "Hey, your new name is,"
Well,
and how did you receive that? And what questions were asked? What questions were shunned? Give us more detail about exactly that day where you found out you were going to be someone else.
well, it was so abruptly because she just came to us saying we're moving. It was like within a day's notice. And then we were transported probably in the middle of the night, 1, 2 a.m. on a large bus. We were taken to the airport, and then we just got on a plane. So it was no time to really ask questions. But before we boarded the plane, we were taken to a hotel, probably somewhere near the airport, if I can recall. So we were probably there for a week. And then that's when my dad, he told us he wasn't going to be able to come with us. He came to the hotel to say goodbye. So it was very confusing. And to start off with another new name, new social security numbers, is something that children can't get used to. When I was in school, most of the time I would keep writing Dolores Lynch because I couldn't remember the name they gave us, which I don't want to say what name that is right now. But it was very distressing to me as a child.
So if I can just interject. So here's what I want to ask you, because that's a lot. And I always say this to people. We are all products of our environment.
We are.
You know, be it a perfect, no such thing as a perfect, so let me remove that. But be it a bad environment or be it a good environment. And we repeat a lot of the things that we see. And so having grown up in that kind of environment, having seen those things play out in front of you, how did that seep over to you in picking a mate and watching out for, you know, potential red flags so that you did not maybe even subconsciously go down the same road as your mother?
Well, you know, I always wanted to be married, have a good husband, a good life. And so I pursued my education and, you know, went to college, graduated. I worked in the criminal justice field. And my husband, then, he was a member of a fraternity. So he did well as well. And things progressed slowly at first. But then he decided to get involved in drug selling also.
So you ended up repeating what your mom did.
Not intentionally, but it happened.
Wow. I just got chills.
So when you say you repeated what mom did, to what extent?
Well, I would say that I had a choice to leave him, but we had a 1-year-old son, and we decided to, you know, work it out, get married. We went through a lot of different changes. I had to move back in with my grandmother. I broke off our relationship. But if you love someone, you try to work it out, take them back, and try to put it behind you. So that right there, to me, it's like I married a man who was similar to the person my mother was with, but not aware of what he's gonna do. You don't know.
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay, we're both educated. You might fall on hard times, but it's not a reason to resort to drug selling, which I didn't condone. So I broke off our relationship. No matter how much money it is, it's not worth it because my mother lost her life, and I didn't want to risk me and my son losing our lives.
So in a sense, you kind of imitated the same thing, but you halted it before it got to that level of you, your family being in danger and you having to move out of state to get away and things like that. So you did kind of break that cycle.
I did.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I have a quick question. So, you think you're on the right path. You and this and in your mind, this wonderful man. You guys are both educated. You're going down the right path. Were there any like red flags that would be an acceptable decision to him? Like there was nothing to say like, oh, okay, if times fall hard, okay, he'll just kind of scrap around, or no, he'll turn all the way left and do something just completely opposite of what you thought he would do. Like, were any red flags that he show up whatsoever?
Yes, there were many red flags, but I chose to ignore them. Being the fact that I am very loyal and I wanted to have a successful relationship because my parents failed at that.
Right.
So at that point, I broke it off because he was selling drugs around me and our son.
Right.
So at that point, I discovered I'm pregnant with a second child.
Oh, wow.
And at that point, he said, well, let's get married. But I did leave him when I found out he was selling drugs. I did leave him.
Wow. Let me go ahead. No, go.
So my question is, I understand the aspect of you being loyal, and I feel like everyone wants to make the relationship work. Mm-hmm. Like, no matter what's going on, we all have the urge, like, let's make this work.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, like, was there part of you in your brain, like, what part you think you felt like, all right, even though it's very clear, black and white, that this is not a good situation, that you decide, let's go ahead and get married after, like, all the evidence was laid out before you? Like, what you feel inside of you make you go ahead and decision and get married anyway?
Well, I mean, he said that he would never do that again and put us, at risk. And most women, you want to be with the father of your children.
Right, yeah.
I never wanted other men to raise my sons because I seen how a lot of men may treat their mates' children. Not all men, I'm not saying are bad, but I think that trying to have a stable family unit with both parents is very beneficial in some ways.
Right.
And if you're trying to focus on the same things, I think you can be very, successful at it.
Wow. Let me ask you this. If you could expound a bit, because I truly feel that this is where people, not just women, where people get stuck at in relationships. You mentioned, I wanted to be loyal. I want to be his ride or die.
Ride or die.
All these things that, people throw out, the media throws out, men throw out to justify their, I'm going to say it this way, immature and selfish, narcissistic, I could continue, behavior. So you're not, don't look at me like that, Don, I'm just saying.
No, not men, people.
People, but however, the teacher corrected me because I don't want to negate what I'm saying.
No, you're negating it.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, you know what? Well, I'm very comfortable with the negate. So,
Go ahead.
But I'm gonna stick to men, because majority of the time it's women that are suffering at the hands of this kind of behavior. And so women tend to stay in these very dysfunctional and unhealthy relationships because they want to be loyal.
Exactly.
So talk about that, because that's huge. And for the ladies that's listening, again.
And gentlemen,
Yeah, definitely. Brothers and nephews, whatever, Don. Brothers and nephews, if you got a sister or a friend or whatever, and she may be in this kind of situation, or ladies, if you got a girlfriend and she kicking it with a dude who, may lead her down the road up a creek without a paddle, try to talk to her. So, Dolores, if you can talk about that whole loyalty, what were you feeling at that moment, to make you feel like you needed or had to stay?
Well, to be honest, not having my mother and not having the support I needed to go to college, he was there for me. He took care of me in college. He looked out for me. He was my protector. On campus, nobody bothered me. But also, he was very controlling, manipulative, and just wanted to keep me inside.
Did you see those signs in the beginning?
Yes, I did, but growing up how I did, I didn't feel that it was, a problem, because I wanted to be taken care of. and I wanted to be with someone who I trusted that could protect me. And he was solid like that in the beginning.
Did that did that come from growing up, seeing your mother, the diamonds, the minks, the money? And did you feel like as a child, wow, he really takes care of her? That's the kind of man I want. I want a man who's gonna shower me. I wanna come home to minks and Gucci and Prada. I wanna be swimming in a bed full of money. Did you have that image growing up that led you to, when you saw this man, oh, he's strong. Oh, he can beat them all.
Yes, he's a good provider, protector, very strong. But I feel like I could do anything for myself.
Yeah.
And I did that without doing illegal things. So when I seen him going down that path, I'm like, I told you don't ever have drugs around me and my kids.
Yeah.
And I meant that because I know the children are gonna see everything that goes into the household as well. And unfortunately, my sons got involved in the same lifestyle. So
Wow.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Okay. Well, I tell you what we're going to do right there. We're going to take one more break. We're going to take another break.
good.
You're listening to Uncut Uncensored. This is 95.9 FM. This is WOVU. And we'll check y'all out here shortly. Hey, C-Town, welcome back. This is Uncut Uncensored. This is WOVU.
I like how you said that. Hey, C-Time.
I didn't know I was thinking about that. I was like, that's real cute.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that. Do it
You
again. Do it
just
again.
talking to C-Town.
Hey, C-Town.
I like that.
And surrounding areas.
Yes.
95.9 FM, WOVU. Make sure you download the WOVU app. And if you like, you can just go to www.wovu.org and check us out. Once again, this is Uncut Uncensored. And we have a special guest in the house. And, she is giving us some enlightenment on her life growing up and the cause and the reasons, the cause and effects on her life from the way she grew up. So individuals that's out there that can kind of relate to this a little bit, you need to hear the impact and everything. T, you want to go ahead and take it from there? And anything you guys want to add right quick before we ask Dolores a few more questions? Anything? Anybody? Don't be shy.
I know, right?
What I'm gathering from her, and it's true for men and women, and because I would say one of the big things that always can hinder your success in life is the make you choose.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing that, quote unquote, is you can, quote, lean on, like, oh, why didn't this work? Or why didn't anything else in your success or failure life is on you. But that make you choose,
That's the one thing
Amen.
you kind of really, we don't have we have choices, but man, who you decide to do life with?
that's why that choice is so important, because you could be reading all the self-help books you want, listen to all the tapes, going to the seminars, practicing this, the 10 steps to wealth, but if your partner is on a different track, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a situation, it's going to be an issue, and not that it's a legitimate excuse. That's why I asked her about the red flags.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't believe God ever puts you in a situation where you can't succeed, but you have the wrong spouse, wrong partner.
Notice and warning.
He's going to give you flags.
Absolutely.
He's never going to stop sign, yield, don't go, red flag, and we just blow by him and keep going. And then we look up, we're in a place like, how did I get here? But we had all the road signs all the way there.
Yeah, and then the thing that a lot of people say, like I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was like, man, she changed. I said, no, people don't change. They just, reveal who they are. Don't look at me like that.
So true.
The character is exposed. You were in a different situation that did not, cause that situation to be shown. But anyway, so I want to kind of turn the corner a little bit, but I think it's important to talk a little bit about where you ended, because
Before you do that,
Go ahead.
okay. Before you do that, so as you know, you got a lot of brothers and sisters. Y'all love this show and y'all listening. Y'all tune in late. So real quick, let's real quick, just talk about your mother again and the informant and all that, just real quick. You know, let people know real quick. Give
Okay.
the title of the book.
Just for a recap, my book is called Intentional Deception, and I wrote it about the life that I grew up in, being that my mother was murdered as a teenager. Things that I found out years later was really a secret. So I had to do a lot of questioning relatives, find out the truth behind things, because kids are often not told the truth. And it really hurts when you discover what really happened and you wish it could have been different. But it turned out really bad.
And that was all because of a choice
Of a choice.
that was made with a partner or for a partner.
Yeah. Wow, that's deep. Yeah. Also, for Dolores did not put on there. You guys can catch her on or find her on IG. Give that real quick because we want people to be able to get your book. So drop that real quick.
Again, you can find my book on or contact me on Instagram. Delore Babe is DeeLoreBabe. Thank you.
Got it. Alrighty. So if you could talk about your sons real quick, and then we're gonna bend the corner a tad bit. But I think that's important because again, who you decide to do life with and who you decide to have around your kids, you know, all of that is being imparted into your children, and they are becoming a product of that environment. So you mentioned that your sons eventually took that same path.
Yes, they did. I would say that being in Cleveland, the environment you're in, you often see many people with nice cars, jewelry, and young men that don't want to go to college or don't want to take the safe route and work hard to get those things. They want them overnight. So again, in my book, I talk about the influence of young men, young black men.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's their father or their uncles or their father's friends. Bad associates is what they are. And so my sons, you know, they decided they want to get into the same lifestyle. Okay, and then you end up with criminal records.
Right.
You can't get decent jobs. You have to almost become an entrepreneur because no one is going to hire you, not good companies. And being that I did my best to teach them about the legal system because I worked in it, and I told them, you cannot get a criminal record as a young black man. You're not going to make it.
Right.
It's going to be very difficult.
It's going to be very difficult.
But yet and still, sons don't tend to listen to their mothers. They tend to listen to the streets.
Yeah.
The people who don't really have their best interests at heart. And so what they see is what's out in the streets.
Yeah.
And they're influenced by that. And they have to, pay a penalty. But this is the key. When they do get in the system in trouble, who does it fall back on? The parents.
Absolutely.
Who does it fall back on to pay these high attorney fees?
Yeah.
Who does it fall back on when it comes to visiting you?
Oh, yeah.
Because those people out there in the streets that you party with or you're out here, supporting
Right.
as far as whatever they're selling, they're not going to be there for you.
Right.
And this is why I wrote this story.
Wow. So let me ask you this, Dee. So we're going to bend the corner just a tad. So we're talking about some real heavy stuff. Again, like I said a minute ago, who you decide to do life with, that's a choice that we all have the option to make. I definitely encourage people to choose wisely. And before I bend the corner, I meant to ask you this. Did you guys, you and your siblings, did you guys get counseling at any point through that?
We never received counseling, and that's something I wish that we could have. But again, after my mom was murdered, you're dropped from the system. The FBI,
What?
they don't help you.
Oh, you didn't say that
You're
before.
just,
I didn't know
we're
that.
just out here.
So wait a minute. So, okay, you just changed the whole, okay, my head just blew off in the back of my head.
It's a lot.
Okay, so wait a minute. So one moment, y'all are in the witness protection program.
Exactly.
Because, I'm pretty sure people had seen and known that she had kids. then the next moment when your mom was murdered, y'all just basically out there floating in the wind.
Well, yeah, because even though you're minors, you would get Social Security, and my grandmother had to take us all in, 6 children. But I had older brothers, they were 17, 18, but yet and still, that's it, because she did work at General Motors. So we were allowed to receive Social Security on behalf of her estate.
Wow.
And she did own a home,
Yeah.
and it was sold. So I'm not sure of the money factor. I was only 16
Yeah.
when she was murdered, so I don't know the legal ramifications of what happened. But I just knew that this is something I don't want to ever have to
Yeah.
experience again, but yet and still I did.
You did, yeah. Because and the reason I asked about counseling is because a lot of times, you know, when people go through traumatic situations, you know, especially as kids, you're either going to do a couple things. It's either going to be subconsciously blocked out, you know, to a point where you may not even realize or may not be fully aware of all the trauma that actually happened, you know, or you're going to subconsciously repeat the cycle and you're going to mimic what you saw. Or on the flip side, you're going to be an extremist of what you saw, you know, and so counseling is important because at least if you can talk about what happened, that means you're bringing it to the forefront and you're acknowledging this is what happened and you're getting it out. Okay, this is what happened. How did it affect me? What is my view on this? You know, you're able to actually really discuss the things that have actually happened to prevent you from going down that road. So that is why, you know, I encourage people, if you are in this situation, or if you grew up in that situation, or something similar to it, or any kind of traumatic, you know, situation, is to definitely seek counseling because eventually it always busts at the seams in one way, shape, form, or another.
You know, Tasha, what I think is that, you know, when people are involved into this type of lifestyle, they don't really understand the severity or the web that they're in. You know, most people, when they're in that lifestyle, they think it's manageable, and they don't understand the effect that it has on the entire family and loved ones and things of that nature. So if you know, I'm speaking to the listeners, if you know someone that is in that lifestyle and you are a part of it, start trying to look outside of that lifestyle and look for some help, some internal help for you or your children, or you know, to try to resolve it, because everybody think it's just normal. Once you think it's normal, you think it's, you know, you look at the perks. Anything that produces perks, also is going to have some negative effects going on, and you have to realize that I know I've seen it, you know, time and time again, and it does, you know, it can be just as our guest is speaking. It can be that deep, and the impact can be that traumatic, and it's just so. I mean, I can't find the word, but how it just is going almost generational. And but it's a great thing that you recognize it. You wanted to deal with that, and then you can address that, identify it, and start looking for some type of help. And I guess one of the things, like you said, the counseling. Whether you think you need it or not, if you in there, it's like in a car. Whether or not you are in the car or not, you still should put your seatbelt on.
Right.
You know, so.
Whether you in there or not,
I like that.
you in the car, you ain't in the car. Put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so put the seatbelt on. You know, that's all I'm trying to say. Whether you think you need it or not while you're in the car, you know, put it on. Was it anything you want us to address that, you know, pretty much free falling right now? What you want to talk about?
Basically, I just wanted to be a warning for young women, and not just young women, the young black youth, period. Because easy money, it come and go, but it can affect your whole life, the rest of your life, or end your life. So it's a cautionary tale for you to pay attention. And that's what I want to do. I want to make my voice be heard, because this is a very serious epidemic in our, you know, environment. So many people are affected by this, not just Black, but Latinos, Caucasian. It's around the world. It really is.
Let me ask you this. What made you write the book? Because I'm sure that was not an easy process. Because then you had to really face things that you might not have even remembered. And you like, oh, geez, that did happen.
Well, yeah, because after college, I'm working. I have 5 children. We're raising them together. We have a good Christian life. Everything is going fine. But I still felt so empty inside because I want people to know what happened to my mother.
Yeah. Okay,
the world may forget her, but I never will. And she meant something to a lot of people. And once you're used by the world or whatever organization that claims they will protect you, they really won't.
Yeah.
No.
And you see that firsthand because you have to struggle with so many, personal traumatizing things.
Yeah.
Even if you get older, you ask yourself, what if my mother was here? This would be different.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So you just try to keep it together, but it's not very easy. So, I just made up my mind, about 5 years ago, I'm gonna start writing my book. And I just, part-time on the weekends, on my iPad, I just start remembering things back. I think I started around 12 years old because 5, 6 years old, it's not, really an impact. It's not that major to remember back that age. But I started at when we left. And then whatever happened to us from that point, the schools we went to, I have been to over 15 schools in my lifetime because of the decision my mother made. Going back and forth. So you don't have any stability.
Yeah.
And I wanted that for my children, to grow up in. But yet and still, you may give them all that, the material things that I paid for private schools and all that, but the environment in the end, it can win them over.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, because you said...
Before you ask one more question. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. We're going to take one more break, and then we'll be back. This is Uncut Uncensored. This is 95.9 FM, WOVU.
Say the black of the berry, the sweeter the juice. I say the dark of the flesh, and the deeper the roots. I give my heart to my sisters on welfare.
Welcome back. Cleveland, surrounding areas, welcome back. Woo, so we are in a house.
Thanks for the heavy.
Yeah, and hey, this is good stuff. This is great stuff. Wow, who knew? Right. You just don't think about the impacts that things have on, entire families.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead? You good?
Oh no, you go.
Oh no! That's all I can say. my legs wiggling.
Everybody here taking deep breaths.
So I wanted to piggyback on something you said, Tasha, about that was a good question. About therapy, and I think obviously in their situation it would be beyond needed, but obviously how the government operates. Oh, you don't need you no more. Bye. And just drop you off. But and we get used to operating in dysfunction, I believe, in a lot of households.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff is way wrong, but like you said, you just get used to this.
Yeah.
And this is just operating dysfunction, and we just keep going on. And I think that's something like you have to stop, and you have to put some brakes on some things and figure out, let's go ahead and stop what we're doing out and think about it. And think about these actions and the reflections, because I definitely believe if Sister Coleman had somebody to talk to her in preteen, teen, a little later, she would have been able to maybe just manage it a little bit better and not repeat, because a lot of times we repeat cycles because that's what you're used to.
That's what you saw.
That's what you saw, that's what you're used to, and you think, well, even like she had a clear example how it don't work.
Yeah.
Right before her, and a lot of us have the clear example of how this ain't gonna work. We do it anyway because, well, I see the mistake they made. I ain't gonna make the same mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this differently. And you're in a situation where you're doing the same thing, but I'm gonna go because you see what they did wrong. I'm gonna do the wrong thing they did the right way.
Well, even in her case, she tried to fight the situation.
Yeah.
She did try to cut it off at the head or whatever, at the knees, just cut it off.
Somewhere.
You know, and you know, but it's just that the irony of it
Yeah.
is that she found herself in the same
Yeah.
situation. And then the impact of that is, once again, the family was in that same type of a situation. So, you know, it's when you talk about maybe some type of counseling could have helped her by dealing with it a whole different way, other than because she just had herself at that time to deal with it, and you know, in her situations. So today, is there any counseling going on or anything like that for family members and things of that nature that somehow finding themselves in that situation, or
Well, basically, my Christian organization is what kept me solid, and my faith is very strong. You overcome a lot of adversity if you really read the Bible, and you have to pray immensely.
Yeah.
So that's my therapy. As far as my children, I raised them loving the Bible. They know right from wrong. I am really firm on the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
So if you break God's law, you're going to break man's law. But man's laws can really be harsh repercussions.
Yeah.
So that's my therapy, and I'm doing very well today. But just one bad decision can affect your whole life. And not that you don't see these things in people.
Yeah.
You want to try to look for the good in people. Even if a person does not smoke, even if they don't drink, their associations can really affect who they become.
Yeah.
Not that you don't want them to be that person, but it's not to your choosing.
Yeah. Kier had a question, and then Kier, you had a question.
Oh, first I want to talk about how Deep Boogie, I like how you pointed out the fact that she identified the fact that she was in the same situation, because a lot of times we repeat situations and don't identify the fact that, oh, you're in that same situation.
Exactly.
But my question is, have you ever unpacked your traumas and feelings and the impact the lifestyle your mother presented to you, to your children? Like, as they were growing up, did you unpack those things and let them know step by step what you went through as a child to kind of like get into their brain as they were developing and growing, so that you can kind of mold their thinking in a certain direction?
Most definitely, because I told them from the time that they could comprehend what happened to me as a child and understand, I don't want this life for you all. So you have to make good choices. You know, I would prefer them to get educated, but all children are not college material, so I tell them you have to get a skill. So most of my children are doing very well, but unfortunately, my older son, he fell into the streets.
Yeah.
So it didn't turn out well for him. And I talk about that more in the book.
Let me ask you this, as we're wrapping, we may have to come back for a part 2, because there's so much to unpack here, because, you know, it's so many women, and yes, I'm singling women out because women tend to fall prey to this type of stuff. But what would you say, you know, knowing what you know now, having gone through what you have gone through, what would you say to that young woman that's in a similar situation, maybe as your mom? Or maybe it's not that bad yet. You know, maybe this is just the beginning stage. You know, he got a nice car, you know, he flying her in and out of town, and, you know, he don't really do a whole lot, just a little bit.
you know, I'm going to add to your question.
Go ahead.
What would you say to your mom if you had a chance?
There's so much I want to say to my mom. Well, first of all, I'm living all her dreams.
Wow.
I have accomplished everything that I've wanted to accomplish in life. I have everything that I need, but not having her here is the only thing I miss.
Yeah.
So you can't go back in the past and keep reliving it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to move forward. But I think that the peace and happiness comes from the person within that you grow to be every day.
Yeah.
And you can overcome anything that you've experienced. So you don't want to focus on the past, what I've done, the bad choices I made, because I dealt with that. I've experienced a lot of pain and I punished myself.
Yeah.
But I saw that wasn't helping me.
Yeah.
So you have to forgive yourself and move on and accomplish things. I have grandchildren now.
Yeah.
So I want to break that cycle, and I really preach to them because I don't want to see them, in the same predicament. So
Yeah, that's good. If you could, in the last, we getting ready to wrap, but you said something really important. What does forgiving yourself look like? Because right now, there's some women out there listening, and they say it. I've learned to forgive myself, or I got to learn to forgive myself. What does that look like? Seeing that you've gone through that.
Well, forgiveness is loving yourself more than you love a man or love anyone else in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Putting time into yourself, your health, fitness, your religion, spiritual life, all of these things you need to grow and not revert backwards. You want to move forward, and you'll be a happier individual. And I can say I'm very happy, peaceful, and I'm moving on to do bigger and better things in life.
Well, I gotta tell you, you look happy and peaceful. You do not look like what you've been through.
Thank you so much.
Listen, y'all better get on that YouTube page and check her out, because Miss Dolores is doing the darn thing, okay? She is fabulous. Listen, she looks amazing.
Thank you, Tasha.
For real, seriously. There's, we're gonna come back with a part 2, because it's just so much, on here in this that needs to be discussed. But I think we out of time. So real quick again, can you tell people where can they find you? The name of her book, people. She's been so humble. She's so gracious. I just absolutely love it, and all her womanness. But real quick, y'all can find the show. Listen on YouTube at Relationship Talk Uncut Uncensored. Click on over to IG. Y'all are going to go to uncut.uncensored. But Miss D, can you tell people where can they find your book, Intentional Deception? Oh, one more thing I want to say. You got 30 seconds, real quick. Red flags for ladies, for people, period. Real quick. What are they?
When you see a red flag, believe it. Get rid of that person.
What are they?
Abuse, neglect, drugs, anything that's negative, that's not going to upbuild your life. Get rid of that person and stay very far away from them.
Okay, and where can they find you?
On Instagram, DeLoreBabe, DeeLoreBabe.
Dropping her DMs. It's okay for them to slide in your DMs?
Exactly.
Slide on in. Listen, slide on in and get that book, Intentional Deception. Y'all want to make sure y'all get it. Get it for your mama, get it for your aunt, your brother, your nephew, cousin Johnny, everybody. Anybody else got anything to say, D-Boogie?
No, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you
We're
for
going to have her back, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, y'all listen to Uncut Uncensored, 95.9 FM. We out.